Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to our winning drive here, folks. We appreciate all you guys for joining us. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis. Pleased to be joined by the coach, also fellow lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy C.J. Vogel. You know how we introduced the coach, former high school football coach at Belton, Rotan, Brownwood. Also Belton, played college football at Abilene Christian, coached there in multiple sense, but also was on the University of Texas staff for multiple head coaches. It's our coach, Bob Shipley. And you can find his work at shipleyranches.com these days. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you guys doing? What a great win. Babe, we're going down to College Station. Going to make it happen. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, it is Texas A&M week. You're right. I buried the lead, Coach. It's hate week again, once again on the 40 acres. You're damn right, Josh.
Let's go, Josh.
Let's effing go. The Aggies did not keep up their end of the bargain. They aggied it up. It was supposed to be a top 10 matchup we were talking about this week, but that's all right. It ended up being a top 25 matchup when everything's said and done. They did lose to Auburn in 4 overtimes, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk, of course, about Texas A&M coming up. Sark had his Monday media availability. We'll get into that. I want to get Coach's thoughts and CJ's thoughts about Kentucky now they've had a chance to digest that win for the Longhorns. Quinn Ewers, the ankle, all right, is also a big topic of conversation among Longhorn fans. We'll talk about the ankle. Sark said they were going to practice in the afternoon, so we didn't get an update from Sark, but he did say that Quinn was expected to practice, so we'll get into that topic. Also, all of your questions or comments, whatever you guys want to talk about, you guys know you drive the show. The show belongs to you, all right? We're just, we run the damn thing, all right? We host it, but the show belongs to you. So anything you want to talk about, throw out your questions or comments. Super Chats can jump to the front of the line, interrupt the show at any time. So we appreciate all you guys for joining us. All right, before we also going to have lifetime Longhorn, my former teammate Stevie Lee, joining us a little bit later on. He knows a little bit of something about playing in Aggie land. So we'll ask my man Stevie Lee about his adventures in Aggie land as a player. But let's start off with this, Coach. I got to get your thoughts. I hadn't talked to you since the Longhorns got the win over Kentucky. I'm sure by now you've got a chance to process everything and digest it. What were your thoughts about what you witnessed on Saturday, Longhorns getting the win over the Kentucky Wildcats?
How about that Longhorn defense, baby?
Yeah, man.
Woo!
It's nasty.
You got to love that defense, and you got to love that last drive. I mean, the offensive line and Trey Wisner, I mean, it was a thing of beauty. It really was. It makes you wonder why we don't do that more often.
Well, I don't know why we don't. I mean, it's the first game where we've been able to impose our will. We've been able to run it when we need to, but in Texas imposing their will, that's a little something different, CJ. That's what we witnessed on Saturday, 15 straight run plays. That was the Texas offensive line imposing their will on that Kentucky defensive front.
Yeah, absolutely was. And it before then, even before that final possession where they went 86 yards on 15 plays, 8.5 minutes, it was already the best running day of the year for the Longhorns. And that offensive line was dominant from start to finish. It looked like a completely different rushing attack, and I thought that was really encouraging. But I think what it was more than anything is it was Texas building off of that trip to Fayetteville, where you had the 7-minute drive to end the ball game. Texas up 10 points. You didn't want to give Arkansas a chance to score, maybe kick an onside kick and score again. You wanted to completely shut that game down. And Texas relied on its offensive line to get the job done, carry that over against Kentucky. And, hey, this would be a great time to play your best football if you're the offensive line. So that's two really encouraging, I guess, final 5 quarters for the Longhorns with that offensive line unit. Let's see if it carries over on the road, because, boy, will that be big, huh?
Yeah, you're going to need it on the road in Aggie land, man. It's going to be – we know about that atmosphere. A lot of people have talked about it, but we'll give you our own personal experiences, Aggie land. Coach knows about it too well, so we'll get into that too coming up. But I just think it was impressive that 15 – because Sark has done that before. That Baylor game a couple of years ago, Sark ran, I believe it was 21 straight plays. I remember that Baylor game was a fumble return for a touchdown. Quinn was having an off game, and Sark wanted to eliminate all the elements of risk, and he just wanted to strip it down to the bare minimum. The ghost of DKR was hunting him, basically, that, three things happen when you throw the football, and 2 of them are bad. So Sark decided we're just going to run the football. And he ran like 21 times in a row, 2 touchdown drives to end that Baylor game and to close them out. But at least then you had Bijan and Rojo in the backfield. So you basically had the best backfield in the country. Quinn having a bad game did not mean Quinn wasn't still capable of throwing a forward pass. all right, down the field vertically. So you still had to respect that threat. In this game, and your running backs had more ball security. You could trust your running backs with the football. In this game, the reason that drive was so impressive, guys, number one, everybody and their mama, including Kentucky, knew Quinn can't throw it. Quinn, he can't throw it. He can't throw it downfield. So any defensive scheme that we deploy is going to work because he can't throw it. We can blitz him. We can drop eight. It don't matter. He can't throw it, and he can't run. He can't throw it, can't run, can't move. Beautiful. All right? And they running backs can't hold on to the ball. So you only got one running back you ended up trusting, and that was Trey Wisner, who could actually hold on to the ball, coach. And then on top of that, it was, everybody knew Kentucky's not a bad defensive front. They could have stacked the box because nobody was afraid of Quinn throwing the ball vertically. And that's why, to me, it was potentially a turning point for the run game. Because I hadn't seen anything like that. Because that was a situation where everybody knew they were going to run the football. So in addition to now running the ball when they need to, you ran the ball when you wanted to, as well as when you needed to against Kentucky. That was different, Coach. That was a little different.
Yeah, there's no doubt it was different, but it was beautiful. Yeah. I really hope that gave Sark more determination than ever, just to control the game with the running game. We have the offensive linemen to do it. I don't know, if they're going to win the offensive line of the year or not, but they made a great case for themselves last Saturday for sure. And if we can do the same thing, if we can impose our will on A&M, I think it'll go a long way, not only in helping us win the game, but also helping our offensive line be recognized at the national level.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that. That was a Joe Moore award-winning performance. I don't know if I'm listening to you, Coach. I don't know if they'll win it, but if you want to make the case, that's the tape you turn on right there. All right. I know we got a lot of questions thrown out there, so keep them coming, guys. I promise we'll get to them. But first, as we do every Monday, we are pleased to be joined by my former teammate, also a lifetime Longhorn, proud lifetime Longhorn, my man, Stevie Lee. Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee is joining us right now, and he's actually on the road, so he's not at the house. But Stevie, thanks for joining us. Let me give a shout out, by the way, first of all, to our friends over at Hardgrove Roofing, because that's why Stevie joins us. He joins us courtesy of our good friends over at Hardgrove Roofing. They provide superior, reliable service. If you have any concerns about your roof, or if you have any needs, concerns related to your roof, Hardgrove Roofing are the people you should reach out to. They are fantastic. Matter of fact, right now they're actually offering a free roof inspection. That's right, free 99. You won't get better than that. Check them out, 512. That is 645-3202, or you can reach out to them online at hardgroveroofing.com. We appreciate Hardgrove Roofing for sponsoring this segment of the Winning Drive and bringing us my man Stevie Lee. Stevie, how was your weekend? Hope everything went well.
Everything's going well, man. I got on the road and came over to Shreveport, Louisiana, my hometown, where my friend's Hargrove is from. So
that's right.
So this is how I know Hargrove Roofing and helping them with marketing. I'm trying to figure out how am I 20 years out of college and got an NIL deal right now. So
hey, well done.
That's called resourceful.
There you go, Coach. There you go. I'm probably not making as much money as these other guys making, but it is what it is.
No doubt about it. Well, Hardgrove Roofing, we appreciate them. And I forgot about that. You're right. I met the good folks Hardgrove Roofing, and they did. You close to my mama down there, man. Mama doing her grocery shopping in Shreveport. You know that. So
no question. Any shopping y'all need to do, y'all come up to Shreveport. I know that.
All right, Steve, let me ask you about the game this past weekend, and then I'll let Coach and CJ get you some questions as well. But what were your thoughts about what you witnessed versus the Kentucky Wild? First of all, what do you expect, and did it meet your expectations? The
short answer is no. I did not meet my expectations. I think we could have came out of the first half at 42-0, So, and because we had some stalled drives, we I don't know what's going on with Quinn right now, but you said it. There's some things that's happening right now, and as we get on in this season, I mean, y'all know we got the Aggies right now. Mm-hmm. Then if we take care of business against the Aggies, we got Georgia, and then after that it's a gauntlet, right? And so you want to see your team still climbing right now. And I think that we are not as climbing as much as I kind of want to see, right? I mean, the offensive line has got in there and started digging dudes out, right? And so I love the way they put the ball in the hands of the physical ball in the hands of the running back, but actually the ball is on the offensive line. They really got in there and dug in there and said, you know what, Quinn, we got you. Let us just take this thing home. And it's a good win. I mean, what was it, 31-14? Yeah. It's a good win, guys, but it's not what I expected. It was too close for a long time, and then we pulled away. But I think we gotta get some things right. I mean, our defense is still playing good, still playing well, but I think and this is a good thing also. We got something to work on for the A&M week. You know what I mean? You don't want to go into this week riding high, you know, but we got something to work on, you know. So that's my good and bad of what's going on right now.
Ball security, number one. Yeah.
Steve, Steve, I was going to ask you about that ball security. You know, we've talked about it at times, maybe after that Georgia game, just the frustration that could set in for a defense specifically where, you know, you're on the field for, it felt like 12 minutes of that third quarter, and offense goes out for a 3-and-out. They go out, they fumble on the second play. Special teams puts the ball on the ground. You're sitting there thinking, help us out a little bit, you know? And in big games, is there a level of cohesion needed on the defensive playbook and that defensive huddle to say, hey, you know, it's going to be us right now. We got to wait on them to piece things together. What's that like in the defensive huddle when things just aren't going well at all for the offense?
Well, in my defensive huddles, you know, we were so arrogant that we thought we can win the game without our offense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's the mentality that you need actually. Mm-hmm. So once your offense put 3 points on the board, then it's our game to lose. You know, The offense did their part, so we just got to shut them out. That's what the mentality was when we played. I mean, it was goose egg or bust. You know, so so if the offense is not getting it together, yes. Sometimes there were some conversations like, hey, Chris, hey, Major, put the ball in the end zone, you know? So we didn't really have to say that to VY. He was going to get it there anyway. So, so yeah, it was, it's sometimes you have to, it's a team sport, right? So the defense got to buckle down and actually get it together and until the offense gets its rhythm. But in my years, man, most of the time the offense got their rhythm. You know, there were some games in there that was questionable, but you know, we still had fun back then. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Steve, what did you think of that last drive to seal it offensively for Texas? That 15-play drive. They ran it 15 plays in a row. I mean, you're a defensive lineman. Try to put yourself in the shoes of a Kentucky defensive lineman. When it becomes obvious they can't throw it, and they not gonna throw it. They just gonna run it right at you for 15 straight plays.
Yeah, and that's what made me really proud of our offense because Kentucky was hanging their hat on their defensive line. Like they liked their defensive line. They were big boys and they can play and everything like that. But they couldn't do anything against our big boys, you know. So that right there really made me happy. And because of the turnover and fumble problems that we had, man, I was holding my breath, bro. And I think that we somehow got to get rid of, you know, not taking care of the ball because in those big games, those tough games, you cannot give up the ball, man. That's ball security is very high on the priority list, man. You cannot give up the ball. You got to hold on to it.
Yeah. No, last year Texas fumbled a lot more than we thought too. We didn't. It wasn't something that we thought about and talked about until the Washington game. So we talked about it a lot because you kind of lost the game because of your inability to hold on to the football. But now you're like ninth. You're at the 19th most fumbles, and I think the 14th most fumbles recovered.
And see, I'm trying to get everybody to listen to me, y'all. I said this in the beginning of the year. I mean, our two running backs that went down, they were not only playing, but they were playing because they had ball security. I mean, both our running backs can run the ball, but at the end of the play, when we're trying to get that 1, 2, 3 extra yards, is when the ball comes out. You know, But the other guys that their names are escaping me, but the other two guys that were here that got hurt, it got hurt in camp. They were really good of ball security, and I mean, we got running backs that can run the ball, but you got to hold on to the ball at the end, So that was my concern coming in this year. It's still my concern because they haven't shown me that. I mean, it's like every game we're putting it on the ground, guys.
Yeah.
That's
true.
It's a concern. Well, we've made it. We've made it now. It's Texas A&M week, Stevie. We've been toting it as hate week for Texas A&M. Texas fans, they're not friends this week with family members, friends, whoever it might be for Texas A&M. Let us hear your best Texas A&M story, and just how important that game was for you back in the day, and still is, obviously, with it coming back for the first time in 13 years.
I got you, man. Josh, pause for sure. So man, I've had great memories of this Texas A&M game because one, we always had a bye week before the game, right? And after the game that we played right before, so 2 weeks in the locker room, Coach Brown will pump in the what is it? Is it the Aggie fight song?
Yeah.
And on a loop in the locker room, on a loop, y'all. It will go off and come right back on. And we in the locker room, you have to take a shower, you have to get dressed. That fight song is embedded in my head, and I get mad every time I hear it. I'm upset when I hear it. So this game is it means a lot to the players. I'm from Louisiana, and I wasn't ingrained into the Texas A&M rivalry. And so my first year being involved in this game, I saw how important it was to my seniors. I saw how important it was to my upperclassmen because they either played against those kids in high school or some of them played with these kids in high school. So it was very, very important for us to come out and fight for the seniors, man. I mean, this game has big implications of us going to the SEC championship game and things like that. But I think for me, it's more important for state bragging rights, for the guys that played against other guys. It's just fun, play with other guys. When I was in college, I played LSU. That's the best game I ever played in at the University of Texas because we played LSU in the Cotton Bowl and we kicked Nick Saban's tail in the Cotton Bowl. But playing against your old teammates that you played with and against in high school, playing them again on the second level, on the next level, it's like a dream come true. Any boy's dream in the state of Texas want to play in the Texas A&M game. And I'm not sure that these kids right now at the University of Texas understand that because it's been gone for how long? How many years this game been gone?
13.
Last was played in 2011, right? Yeah. So 14, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So they haven't felt it. And I saw an interview. One of the kids said, "I heard that this was a great rivalry." Bro, yeah, you may have heard it, but you need to go back and watch it and see that this was a great rivalry. There were brawls on the field back when the Shock the Nation tour happened in the 90s. And this is a streaky rivalry as well, because for a while we were down 7 games to none or 6 games to none, and then we're up 5 games to none. I mean, Coach Brown, this is very important. Coach Brown gave us a football. I got a football in my office back in not in Shreveport, back in my house. It says 4 in a row. I played 5 years and I won 5 in a row, but it says 4 in a row, and it has our score and Texas A&M score. And he gave us that ball as a senior gift. I cherish that ball. I love that ball, man. It's on display in my house, in my office. So it's huge implications, not for just for what's going to happen afterwards, but what we have in front of us, man. I love it.
No, I agree with you.
If I could just chime back in, I mean, it is interesting hearing, the players speak today about the rivalry, because to your point, they recognize the rivalry. They don't live the rivalry, right? They haven't yet. And I think that's what's so exciting about this game. Michael Taft was asked if there's one player that you've played with or has been a Longhorn in the past that would be a great embodiment of this rivalry, or at least would have been a great player in this rivalry, who would have been? He said, listen, I think Sam Ehlinger would have thrived in a scene like this, just a true gamer. And so I'm hopeful that Stevie, these players understand after this game and after a few renditions of this rivalry is back, that they have that same hatred and passion for it, because that's special stuff right there.
It is special, and we also remember Ricky Williams broke the record in this game too to seal his Heisman Trophy. This is a big game, and also I want to put in there and throw out there, we need to beat the Aggies this Saturday, so we can say we beat them twice, because no question in my mind that we beat the Aggies last week when they were playing Auburn. That was our W right there. So they were looking forward to the Texas game. They circled this because we kicked the field goal in 2011 to win the game and ran out on their field and celebrated hard on their field.
Damn right. I was there. I got down on the field.
Yeah, there you go. You should have, right? And so they remember that. And they are pissed mad for the last 14 years, that 13, 14 years. So they are remembering that. I hope that we're not riding high off of our little win and things like that and try to take this thing for granted, because they're mad. We're going in their place. It's game day is there. They lost this last weekend, so they're trying not to lose again. So we really got to show up and show out early. Put them to bed early, take this crowd out of it. I hope the coaches are telling these guys, if you look up in the crowd, the stands are going to be swaying back and forth. Just don't look up, man. Just stay on the field, So it's a wild place to play, man. It really is, and I don't think there's anything like this in college football. I really don't.
Stevie, I want to ask you. I wanted to ask you and Rod, what's the difference in the Texas OU game and the Texas A&M game when you're playing them at Kyle Field? Is there a difference? Obviously, there's a difference because there's more fans against you. But how do the two atmospheres?
I get what you're saying. For me, I think the Texas OU game is more of it's a neutral site, so it's kind of like a festival to me. Like it's festive, and this is where we're all meeting right here, and we're going to have this game, and it's a tough game. It's going to be a rivalry game. This one right here, you want to beat them at any time. You want to beat the Aggies every time you touch the field, but you also want to protect your home field even more, right? So, like I say, they're going to come out really mad and ready to protect home field. And for me, it was, let's go in there and rip their hearts out. And then when they come to us, when we played at home, it was, we don't lose on this field, guys. We do not lose on this field, and we're going to enforce our will on them at home. You know what I'm saying? So it's a difference. It's a different feeling because they put our fans way up in the nosebleed, so you don't see any of our fans at Kyle Field. But in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl, you're going to run out through their fans, but at least you can go down on the end and hang out with our guys. So it's a different atmosphere when you in the true Lions Den.
Yep. If you're at the Cotton Bowl for the Texas OU game, it's a unique spectacle. But it's not a truly, in my opinion, I don't think it's a hostile environment. It's intimidating because of how unique it is, and it's a spectacle. You go into Aggie Land, that's truly a hostile environment. You got to go to Arkansas. Hell, man, they just don't like you. At least you got half the stadium in Dallas that loves you, and half that hates you. That's how unique it is. Going on the road where it's you and them icy whites, and it's you against the world. It's a different mentality, man. To be in the Stormtroopers, us against the world, and all we got is what we brought with us. That's all the love we got. There'll be speckles of orange fans. We know the burnt orange gonna travel, but they not gonna be able to burnt orange out all that maroon. Hell no, that maroon's coming in full force.
No, that's a
And
great way of putting it, Rod.
yeah.
I was trying to find my words, but you have a way with words. That's why you do this job.
I think everybody's got their own kind of way of describing it, but trust me, man, I've been to Aggie Land before, and I've been to Aggie Land after the bonfire. So let's discuss this a little bit.
Yeah.
Emotional charge, right? And that was a very, very emotional. I think even Mac said, when they asked Mac if he could change anything about his time at Texas, he mentioned that. He said, I'd take back, I'd go back to that ugly bonfire. I'd change that. I'd let those young people, obviously have to be able to go on living. And that's what he changed. That's the one thing that he would change about his time at Texas. Showing the kind of character Mac Brown is. But that was a devastating time, and it was a horrible time, of course. But I remember that emotionally charged environment.
It was
on another level.
I was in high school at that time, but Coach Brown always recognized those kids that lost their lives. I mean, that was 25 years ago, man. Those are kids that would have had kids by now, Yeah. And so he always, even when he left Texas, he always recognized the bonfire incident at the at Alabama. I'm sorry, at A&M. And so he's just a classy guy like that, because there were kids that lost their lives, right? And they had they beat us on a fumble that game, I believe.
Yeah. No,
they beat. Yeah. And that was very emotional for them. And if there's a game that they had to have, is that one. But we don't need to let them have any more.
No, I agree. But my point of mention is, I remember feeling the emotional charge as a player there. Yeah. Obviously, this is not of the magnitude of it, but my point is there will be an emotional charge because you haven't played this game in a long time. The Aggies are just emotional about this rivalry period. And I'm telling you, the players, they got to be ready for that, because they have not experienced that. Oklahoma ain't got that. And maybe Arkansas was close, but I don't think Arkansas is going to bring what the Aggies are going to bring, because of just how, like I said, what's been going on, the vitriol and angst between these two programs for the last, I guess, 13 years since they last played. I think it'll be a religious experience for those folks, man. They're going to treat it like that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping somebody's on staff that can help them understand the magnitude of this game and what it means in the state of Texas. I think Sark can relay this is a huge game, but someone in that staff and someone there needs to be there telling these kids exactly what this is. Rod, maybe you and I should just run over there and talk to these guys, man.
They got some guys here. They got Huff Daddy over there, Blake Gideon.
They got Blake over there. I get you.
Mm-hmm. They got Huff Daddy, Blake Gideon. They got some guys. They got enough guys that can do it. I think we should. I think this is my idea. We should have like a nightmare squad, like basically all the great players who are still with us that gave the Aggies nightmares. We should bring them all back and put them on the sideline for Texas. So all of them, they hate seeing Ricky. Put Ricky on the sideline out there. They don't like Case because Case man.
Case McCoy. Put Case out there.
Both the McCoys, coach. All the McCoys. It's the whole damn McCoy family on the sideline just waving that.
And was it Justin Tucker that made the kick?
Yeah. Justin down Tuck. Come on, let's fly Tuck down too. Let's bring him out. Like a nightmare squad. We'll bring him on the sideline.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Steve. We apologize for taking up too much of your time, brother. It was good.
You did not. This is always fun, man. I really appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks, Stevie. And we'll talk to you next week, brother. Have a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. That's right, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm training so I can eat. I already got this is my spot right here at the table. So I'm training right now. I'm just
that's your spot. Nice. Already. Yeah. Hey, it's all about preparation, man. The preparation, man.
Training, baby. You got to train.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Stevie. Appreciate you, brother. All right, that's Stevie Lee, lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee, brought to you courtesy of our friends over at Hard Grove Roofing. Let me thank them once again for all of their support and sponsorship. They have offices all over Louisiana, Arkansas, and of course the great state of Texas, including Austin, Texas. Hard Grove Roofing will take care of all of your roofing needs, plus they're Longhorn friendly with partners like lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee and lifetime Longhorn Bert Auburn as well. They're the most pro burnt orange roofing company out there, so you want to represent the burnt orange. You can do it with our friends over at Hard Grove Roofing. Call them today for a free roof inspection. That's 512-645-3202. Or visit hardgroveroofing.com. Thank you very much to them and to Stevie Lee. We appreciate that. Yeah, the thing that makes this rivalry so unique, I know we got a lot of questions, so we'll get straight to those and straight to the super chats here, and also talk about the media availability that Sark had earlier today. And yes, Quinn's injury will give you an update with that. But the thing that makes the rivalry so unique is that, and CJ, you probably can attest to this even more so than I can because I'm old now. But a lot of the kids, half the kids on both these rosters probably narrowed their choices down to Texas and Texas A&M.
Yep.
Half of them probably took unofficial visits or official visits to Texas and Texas A&M. And their final 5 schools were probably Texas or Texas A&M. And now you'll get to the point where the coaches on both staffs recruited players, you know what I mean, on both staffs, and they're still there. That's when the rivalry is really good because I got recruited by R.C. Slocum. I loved R.C. Slocum. R.C. Slocum was one of my favorite human beings on the planet. R.C. Slocum is the reason I stayed in Texas. I was going to Florida State, try to be like Deion Sanders. All right, boom, that was it. I already made my mind up. My mom was like, you don't want to go to Florida State. Nah, I'm going to Florida State because Deion went to Florida State, and I'm going to be like Deion, even though I was nothing like Deion. All right, but R.C. Slocum.
No, you were a DB.
Yeah.
You were a DB. So you were just like Deion.
I thought I was Deion because you couldn't tell me I wasn't Deion. All right, even though I was short, had bad hands, and did not have any offensive skill. But yes, I thought I was Deion. So I wanted to go to Florida State to follow in his footsteps. They're taking me right now. Thank you very much, Matthew. I can play at Florida State probably right now. But R.C. Slocum, when I talked to R.C., he had a great line. R.C. said, hey, do your parents go to games? And I was like, yeah, man, mom and dad go to games. Love seeing mom and dad in the stands. It's always good. You know what I mean? It always gives you like an extra, boost of emotional energy when you see mom and dad in the stands. And he was like, well, he said, you make sure you stay in the state of Texas then, because you go to Colorado, because my schools were Colorado, Penn State, Florida State, Texas. He was like, you go to any of them other schools outside the state, how mom and dad going to get to all the games? This is before NIL and all this. I'm like, damn, I hadn't thought about that. Boy, I'm 17 years old. I ain't thought about that. And instantly, that's all I needed to hear. RC didn't know it. He narrowed down my choice. He probably should have tried to steer me more toward Texas A&M, but he narrowed down my choices right then to Texas and Texas A&M. I made my mind up right there and there. I was like, yeah, I'm not going outside the state. I'd already made my mind up. I was going outside the state. RC Slocum's talk had me saying in the state, coach. I was like, mom and daddy got to go to as many games as I can get them to. And he was like, if you stay in the Big 12, they get to go to Baylor and they get to go to Tech. And I was like, damn, okay, done. I'm staying in the state. Now, I think I was leaning toward A&M then, and then Mac Brown came into the picture, sat on my mama's couch, drank my mama's sweet tea, and anybody who talked to Mac knows the rest is history. I mean, Mac could talk. He made that dude could sell sand to a beach. So that's basically how it went down. But I think that's it, CJ. That's the true, that is the true, to me, secret ingredient of this rivalry. Is the intimacy and almost the incestuous nature of it with the players and the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when A&M was the sole team in the SEC in the conference, I mean, they kind of had the pick of the litter in the in-state crop. And, of course, it was up to Tom Herman and Charlie Strong and for a little bit Steve Sarkisian to kind of say, hey, wait, we're still Texas. I mean, we're still a good program. We're supposed to be landing a lot of you guys. I know that we don't have the SEC patch on our chest, but that's what we're here to, and coach, I'm sure you had to deal with that on the recruiting trail a little bit, but you go through some of the big storylines and Doc Texas, for folks that follow him on Twitter, he put out his 8 best moments from the Cold War era of the Texas A&M rivalry. And for folks that followed recruiting through, the last decade plus, I mean, you're going to be pretty familiar with all of these, right? Brandon Jones, they had a documentary made for his commitment. You had Chris Boyd come out in halftime tweeting, I should have gone to A&M, right? And then, of course, Anthony Hill. You have Anthony Smith, guys that flipped from A&M to Texas. And, that's part of what makes this rivalry so much fun that it's back now is because, hey, these guys were once committed to Texas A&M, and they're going to be playing in the Icy Whites at Kyle Field. Anthony Hill, I love talking to Anthony Hill after games because he gets it, right? He's a pro's pro at, what is he, 18, 19 years old?
Yes.
He gets it. He was asked, hey, you were once committed to Texas A&M. Why didn't you end up there? Why'd you flip? And he goes, hey, man, that was in the past. I'm just happy to be here right now. Thank you, Matthew, for pulling that up. He said, I'm happy to be here at Texas right now. We're focused on winning a championship. That's all in the past. We've seen some headlines come out of College Station today we'll talk about here in a bit. But, I mean, these are just tremendous. Evan Stewart, who could forget Kyler Murray tweeting a photo? If you scroll down, look at Matthew, tweeting that Texas #1 jersey. Yeah. And everybody freaking out right around signing day. But there were some really fun moments for both programs. even when the teams weren't playing, and it all stemmed from recruiting. And now these guys are all excited to relive this game. And again, I have to go back to what Michael Taft said. This would have been an awesome game for Sam Ehlinger to be a part of. Just the guy that embodied the Texas spirit, grew up a Longhorn, 4 or 5 year starter, whatever it was. I mean, this would have been a game for him to be a Texas legend, build his legacy in a game like this. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully for Quinn Ewers, a guy who also led Texas burnt orange and is now in his final year here, this should be a game that you can cement yourself as a status, just as Case McCoy did, just as Justin Tucker did. This could be a big one legacy-wise for Quinn and, the rest of the Longhorns on the roster at the moment.
Well done. Amen, bro. Legacy game for Quinn. I'm excited for him. Speaking of Quinn, just to update the folks, you were there at the media availability, CJ. Sark said they had not yet practiced because of the holiday schedule, no class. They were changing up the practice schedule. Usually they practice in the morning. They were not. They were going to practice in the afternoon. So he hadn't seen him practice, but he did say that they expect him to, right?
Yeah, they expect him on the practice field. Again, Texas, normally a morning practice team. We normally walk into Belmont Hall for the press conference Monday mornings, and the Texas team is walking off the field. That was not the case today. They did not practice in the morning. Sarkisian kind of got up there, and you could tell he maybe didn't have his morning coffee, or at least his adrenaline from coaching practice a little bit. But they'll be on the field probably right about now. Quinn Ewers expected to practice. Of course, he was a bit limpy after that game with that sprained ankle, if you will. So we'll see what his status is. I would expect Texas to kind of keep him a bit quieter in practice today, but just making sure that he's out there being able to move, and then, of course, saving the ankle for this weekend.
All right. Thanks for the update, TJ. We'll get to the Super Chats. Let me thank another one of our sponsors first, our good friends over at Duck Camp. As a matter of fact, boom, you can see I'm wearing the Duck Camp hat. I got some Duck Camp gear in the house. I love it. Matter of fact, I've gotten multiple compliments on it. You guys have actually seen me wearing some of it. My wife is jealous now. She's trying to steal my Duck Camp gear, so I got to order her some now. But Duck Camp is great, folks. Produces premium outdoor goods for the outdoor spirit in all of us. Duck Camp is dedicated to providing the best outdoor goods so you can outdoor good, whether you're an avid hunter or you're a fisherman or you like the camaraderie of the campfire, or you're just faking it like Rod did. You just like the gear because it looks cool and it feels pretty good. You can do that too. All right. That's what Duck Camp is all about. No matter what the reason is, Duck Camp is a brand that understands the culture of outdoor living and the good times and good friends that come along with living an outdoor lifestyle. Go check out their new fall selection. I've ordered a couple of items from there myself. You can go check it out at duckcamp.com. They do a really great job. They have fantastic products, really, really great fabric, and it is top-notch material. I can tell you that right now. I hadn't worn the shirts. This is my first time wearing the shirts. I've been sporting the hats, but trust me, all the gear is top of the line and it's well worth your time. Go check it out, duckcamp.com. All right, let's get to the Super Chats here, and we'll come back to some of the topics and talk about Texas' upcoming opponent, the Texas A&M Aggies. I'm actually going to hear from one of the Aggies, too. Blake Monroe tweeted out a video that might be considered bulletin board material from an Aggie already getting started, so we'll get to that, too. But Bixby Horn up first. Bixby Horn, thank you for the Super Chat. Says, thanks for all the info, gents. Rod, give me the details on the burnt orange vest you were wearing yesterday. Yes, hook 'em. Thank you. It's Duck Camp. That's perfect. It was actually Duck Camp, and that's their version of burnt orange. You can't have the actual burnt orange because the Longhorns will sue the hell out of you. They will send you a cease and desist. They'll send it quick, fast. So that's as close as they could get. It's pretty close though. Like it's pretty close to an actual burnt orange. So go check it out at duckcamp.com, Bixby Horn. Thank you very much. Juan wants to know, did you all see the tweet that the Aggies offensive lineman Trey Zune said about Anthony Hill about getting a snub for the Butkus? Thoughts? Okay, I know you want to get into this, CJ. This is a perfect lead in. Because you actually tweeted out a tweet about you believe this was also a snub for Anthony Hill being a finalist for the Butkus, or left off being a finalist for the Butkus Award. But here's a Trey Zune tweet on Anthony Hill. He said he's a great player, but he's nothing that we haven't seen before and nothing we can't handle. Okay, well, have they seen? They probably have seen a linebacker as good as Anthony Hill. He's pretty good. Now, whether they can handle him or not, that's a different conversation. Last time somebody was talking trash about Anthony Hill via X or Twitter, coach, he had his best game we've ever seen him have versus Oklahoma. So
don't poke the bear. That's what my daddy used to say. Don't poke the bear, son. Don't poke the bear.
I was shocked that he was mentioned at all by A&M players. Again, haven't seen what happened after that Oklahoma game. I'm sure extra motivation is not needed at all if you're going against Anthony Hill, because that's, to your point, Coach, not at all what you want Anthony Hill to be playing with is extra motivation.
Yeah. No, I think it felt like he played with extra motivation at Oklahoma game when I had to go back and get it to. I don't want to open up the door for Coach and his that ongoing joke we've done. So I'm just gonna move on. We'll get to what about Anthony Hill in the Butkus Award though, CJ, and him being snubbed. You had some strong thoughts. You thought actually Anthony Hill had a pretty compelling case to be a finalist for the Butkus Award.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think the numbers lie. And, of course, if you want to point to tackles, sure. But impact plays, 15 tackles for loss, more than any of the finalists. 7.5 sacks, more than any of the finalists. 4 forced fumbles. Talk about impact. Those are all impactful plays. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting here arguing with specifically Sooner fans, but some Twitter folks on online today saying, oh, well, numbers don't mean everything. You know, there's different parts of football that mean he's more impactful. And sure, but those impactful plays, tackles for loss, sacks, turnovers. I was amazed that Anthony Hill wasn't labeled as a Butkus Award finalist. I think he's been a co-SEC Defensive Player of the Year 3 times this year. And what more do you need in the conference's best, or in the college football's best conference, to be the Player of the Week 3 times? I mean, come on. Numbers don't lie. He's been playing at a tremendous level. Again, it was funny. The Butkus Award finalists were named probably around 10:30 this morning, and then at 10:45, the SEC comes out and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, Anthony Hill once again named the co-defensive player of the week." So I was very surprised. Again, he's been spectacular for the Longhorns, and fortunately for Texas, and Sarkisian mentioned this after the game on Saturday, he'll be back in Austin again next year. So maybe the Butkus Award will be one that he kind of puts down on his notepad of goals before the year, because, again, I think it was a snub this year, and that would be one next year. That would be very surprised, once again, if he's playing anything close to this level, if he's not a finalist for that award in 2025. Yeah,
no, it's a good point. I agree with you. Just kind of looking at the numbers and just the eye test. I mean, watching them. And he came off a great game. It was a 10-tackle game, had 2 sacks, came off a monster game. I'm not sure how they missed that one. But sometimes those are like career achievement awards, unfortunately. And I know he's young, but there's another sophomore on here, correct? That's a finalist?
Yeah, redshirt sophomore. So I missed the red shirt on that one. But
right, so maybe he's being penalized unfairly, by the way, just because he's.
I don't understand how you could put Barrett Carter in that group and leave out Anthony Hill.
I agree. And again, 2 linebackers, Coach, to be the best linebacker in the country, you would think they have forced maybe 1 turnover in 11 games this year, and there's 2 of them on the list that have 0 combined turnovers forced. I know that doesn't mean everything, but to be an impactful player, big players make big plays, no? So I'm still a bit mind-boggled by it, but hey, you get another year to redeem yourself if you're Anthony Hill, and I'm sure that committee, whoever's voting for it now, will know the name by Texas fans saying they missed him this year.
Well, yeah. I'm hoping after Saturday that'll just be more. Not that he needed the A&M player to say what he said, but the Butkus Award snub is motivation enough for him to go out and have a career game. And then you got A&M offense talking trash. Watch out for Anthony Hill this week.
Woo. I know. I love the way he plays too. He actually, I thought he was being sarcastic, but I think he was being truthful when he said he doesn't talk trash on the field. He actually kind of just goes about his, conversation on the field like he does off the field, where if a guy's having a good game and the opposing player, he will tell him. And if he makes a good play, he's like, no, I'll tell him he made a good play. And I was like, that's just being sarcastic. But I saw him actually after a play in the Kentucky game tell the running back Sumo, like he was basically like, good job, man, good job. That was a good job. And Sumo was talking trash to him, like, yeah, man. And then he was like, nah, you good job. I can't figure out Anthony Hill if he does have an on-field demeanor or persona that's nastier, or if he's just the same guy. I think he might be the same guy on and off the field, which is weird because he's such a fun-loving, jovial guy off the field, and yet on the field you think he was just flips the switch and he's just psychotic monster, but he's not. I think he's just the same guy.
Well, he needs to be. He needs to be this week a psychotic monster. Lock him up after this game. Lock him up for human abuse.
I know this is the game for that.
Abuse of the human race.
Yes, no, you're right. This is one of those games. You who are the guys on your teams, coach? You knew had some screws loose. You knew you're like, man, that dude. I'm glad he's got football to work out his anger issues because he'd be in jail or something if not. Like, you got a couple of guys you play with like that.
If you're playing for championships, you got some guys like that on your team. I promise. I've never played for championship that I didn't have guys like that on my team. They got one foot in the jail cell, man.
Yeah. You're like, thank God for football. Football saved this young man's life. Yes, this is the perfect game.
It probably saved a lot of other lives too. He would have taken out.
Exactly. No, I'm serious. I was gonna mention a name, and I was like, I'm not gonna mention the name. I let Longhorn fans, y'all let y'all's imagination run wild. But he played with us, and I was on the team with him when I was first, like in 99 and 2000. He was 99 is when I was on the team with him. And dude, screws loose. But in this game, monster. See if y'all can guess in the chat. Anyway, let's go back to Super Chat. Miracle Martinez says, Texas X, bring on the Ags. We aren't scared. The pride and winning tradition of the University of Texas will not be entrusted to the weak nor the timid. Damn right, Miracle Martinez. Great message. Appreciate that. You damn right. Appreciate that. Good stuff. MP Houston says, Stevie, you ever lose to the Aggies? Sorry, I hit this a little late, MP Houston. He did say he was undefeated versus the Aggies. Never lost. I lost one game versus the Aggies. It was that bonfire game. That was the one we lost. Now, what I'm telling you, they were riding an emotional high and emotional charge from that game. And obviously, we did not come to play and we were distracted. David Ross.
I wonder when it was going to come out.
Hey, you know what? That's a damn good guess. He was a man. Yes, that's a good guess. Aaron Humphrey. I love how most people guessing Aaron Humphrey. The A-Hump was a beast. A-Hump was the person I was thinking about. But turns out now A-Hump's like an educator, and he's awesome. He's like a coach, and I love him. I love A-Hump. He's a great human being and a great teammate. But, yep, screws loose. When he stepped on the field, that's a dude. I'm glad he was on my team. Like, that's a guy you did not want to be across the ball from. I felt bad for people who had to go up against A-Hump play to play. Dude. Because, he has some screws loose, no doubt about it. All right, let's get back to the Super Chat here. And some of the questions. Oh, before we get back to the questions, let me thank one of our sponsors. Let's thank our good friends over at Flat Creek before we move on. Thank you for Flat Creek Estate Winery. They do a great job. We appreciate them for being a part of the On Texas football family. Flat Creek Estate Winery, just minutes from downtown Austin, and they've won award after award this year for their vintage wine, Super Texan. Super Texan is now available at your local spec, so give it a try. Of course, Flat Creek is also a gorgeous venue with barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend. Perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with your significant other. As a matter of fact, I got to go see the family, and I'm going to take some Flat Creek wine with me for the holidays because my family actually big fans of Flat Creek Estate Winery because they got a chance to taste it. And trust me, you try the Super Texan or you try the Rosé, which is really good. You can also find it at Central Market. It is a great product. So go check it out for yourself, flatcreekestate.com, or go check out the venue, Flat Creek Estate Winery. It is also to die for. All right. If you want to impress your significant other with a weekend getaway or just a great day date, you can do it at Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com. Thank you very much for sponsoring the winning drive. All right. Getting back to it, CB says, Rod, who set off the alarms at the team hotel in 99? Some Aggie. Now, we don't know if the Aggie was affiliated or just rogue Aggie fan, but there was not only fire alarms pulled, but the allegation is somebody got some poison, food poisoning of some kind. Now, that could have just been bad, certain situation and circumstance, because Major had to deal with that, or it could have just a couple of guys on the team had to deal with it. So it could have just been bad luck, or it could have been, once again, another rogue Aggie. I think the lesson was, Coach, you don't stay too close to Aggie land. You just avoid all those possible pitfalls.
Where did y'all stay? Where did y'all stay?
Oh, we were close. I can't forget. I'm old now, and I apologize. I should remember that. I I probably
don't
Stevie Lee probably should have asked Stevie. Stevie will remember.
So Sark was asked today, Rod. He said, "Hey, there's some funny stuff whenever Texas goes down to Texas A&M. I forgot who asked the question today in Austin at the press conference, but he's like, 1 year they ate Bevo, 1 year Texas steals Rivalry. I mean, all sorts of different little nuances throughout the recruitment. What are you going to do to make sure that your team's prepared?" And Sark goes, "We'll be ready. Don't worry about it. We'll be ready." So he didn't give out any indication of if they're flying, if they're driving, where they're staying, what time they're getting in. He said, "Listen, just know that we're going to be ready when this game comes rolling around." So they know all about it, making sure that that no stone's unturned when it comes to preparation before the game, and then obviously getting back home afterward, hopefully with a win. But to the point is, they're not letting anything pregame kind of deter them from what needs to be done on the field.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay anywhere close down there, Coach. It's a night game, so you really can make your travel arrangement for the day or right before if you want to, but we'll see what Texas decides to do. But yes, CB, there was some shady business going on. I was just saying there was shady business going on. They ain't the reason we lost, but it was a distraction, no doubt. All right, getting back to the questions here. Too broke to pay attention said, "I shared a shout out tequila with A-Hump at the bar on Greenville Avenue in Dallas many, many years ago." Oh no, trust me. That's when I hung out with A-Hump, him and his lovely wife. I hung out with him not so long ago. And I want to say he's maybe in San Antonio now, maybe last time I checked. But he was coaching, and I always have a good time when I'm hanging out with A-Hump. He's got the same fire that he did, but now he's just more, he's tame now. It's like he's not domesticated. Domesticated A-Hump is what I've been hanging out with lately. So he's a good dude. All right. Michael says, "Rod or Coach?" This is for Coach then. "Is our running game better in the fourth quarter because we are calling more straight runs versus RPOs in the earlier quarters, allowing the O linemen to fire off better?"
Oh, that's a great question, Michael.
That is a good question.
That's a great question. And yeah, I think it has something to do with it. I mean, an RPO, the lineman, the worst thing that can happen to you is get called downfield on a big play. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a very good point. I think the offensive line can certainly fire off better when they know it's a straight run. Let me think about that.
It'd be interesting to go back and chart how many RPOs, like pure RPOs, are called in the first half versus second half, because to the point, the long drive against Arkansas, the long drive against Tennessee, against Kentucky, all you did was see straight run plays for the most part. There weren't many RPO play calls even mentioned. So that's interesting.
I know most quarterbacks that I coach on RPOs, if it's close, they want to throw it. They want to throw it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I think you're right about that, Coach. Even Sark said that. I saw Sark's was a coaching clinic that he was coaching. He said, I avoid putting multiple tags. This is what he said. I avoid putting multiple tags in my RPOs. Because he said if I do, the quarterbacks will just think it's a passing play. They won't even respect the running element. They'll just go out there and try to throw it. So to your point, Coach, yeah, most quarterbacks are like, if it's close, I'd rather throw it. I'll take the throw. Yeah. So that's a good point, though, Michael, about that. And I would love to see. It's hard to determine if a play is an RPO. A lot of times you got to go back and watch it like 4 or 5 times to make sure, like, oh, that was an RPO run, as opposed to just a called run. All right. And so they haven't, even Pro Football Focus hasn't gotten to the point where they're detailing it like that. I want to say Pro Football Reference has like RPO runs and RPO passes now, but not really college football stats. I love when they get that advanced, because that'll truly kind of dive into what you're talking about how many RPO runs are you seeing early as opposed to called runs late and fewer RPO runs. Because I think you're right, actually. I think eye test, I haven't tracked it, but I bet eye test wise, I think there are more RPOs early and then more straight up called runs later, where they're like, no, we got these big humans, we're going to impose our will late.
Yeah.
So, all right, getting back to the questions. This one's from Champ Bailey. Says, CJ, do you have any news on what happened with Cade Phillips? Sounds like Texas completely out in that recruitment. Yeah, what happened? I want to know what happened with Cade Phillips too, man. Did he not even make it down? What's going on?
No, I did make the trip. LSU did a good job of shutting that down, making sure that, hey, this is the place for you. Corey Raymond's still in LSU. That's a big piece of cornerback development, and that's a big reason why LSU was able to secure that victory early on. So, listen, Texas gave it a shot. Texas also very happy with the 2 guys that they have in the cornerback class at the moment with Caleb Chester and Grayson Littleton. So, it was a luxury to pursue Cade Phillips, of course, and LSU did a great job of making sure that he knew this was the spot for him and making sure that he was not making the trip down to Austin.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a personal fan of Cade Phillips. Got a chance to coach him at one of Anthony Williams' clinics. So shout out to him, and really liked him. I think he can play corner safety if you need him to, but I think he's probably committed, or at least he wants to play corner, and maybe that's the sales pitch for LSU. All right, getting back to the questions. How about this one from Augusta Horn? Says, if Quinn's ankle is no better than it was in the second half versus Kentucky, would it be better to play Arch this Saturday? Rest Quinn, since we're almost certain to make the college football playoff, win or lose versus A&M. This is a good question because based on Ole Miss losing, Alabama losing this past weekend, there are a lot of people that believe, guys, that 2-loss Texas still makes it into the college football playoff. I believe that too. I've been saying that even before this past weekend. So if that is indeed the case, it takes some of the, obviously some of the stakes, obviously that were so high in this game, and it may not be, in my opinion, I don't think this game has the magnitude that it once did, at least what was at stake before. But what are your thoughts about the quarterback situation? I'll throw it to you first, Coach. Quinn's ankle, what's the contingency plan?
No, I say go with Quinn, and if Quinn's not getting it done, then that's one thing, but you're sending a message to your team and to A&M when you sit Quinn in that game. We don't have to have him to win type thing. I have a weird feeling that at some point in this season, here we are on the 12th game, but I just have a feeling that at some point Arch is going to have to save the day for us. Maybe it's Quinn being injured. Maybe it's Quinn being unproductive. Maybe it's Quinn being rattled or whatever, but I just have a feeling that at some point Arch is going to be called on, and so just sticking him in the starting lineup at Kyle Field is probably not a great thing to do. I think Quinn is much more trained for this. He's got the experience. He's been in so many big games. And if you're a Longhorn, this is the one game that people will ask you, did you beat the Aggies or not? Especially Quinn's only opportunity to play the Aggies. Did you beat them or not? And if Quinn comes out and has a great game against A&M, it will kind of solidify his greatness at the University of Texas. Just think about 3 years ago, guys. We've come a long way. And a lot of it has to do with Quinn Ewers and his growth and his contributions to the team, obviously. But I just have a weird feeling that at some point Arch is going to have to come in and be asked to save the day. Are y'all feeling that too, or not?
Ooh, yeah. I hope not, but I mean the way things are trending, and we talked about this on the live stream, I believe on Sunday. How long have we seen Quinn go in a stretch in the season without getting hurt, without some type of injury, without some right? Has he made it through like a 5-game stretch without getting injured, like a 6-game stretch? The whole point is, to Coach's point, if Texas has to win, how many more games we're talking about here?
Yeah.
How many more games? 6 more games to win it all?
Just about.
So what's the last time Quinn made it through a 6-game stretch without getting nicked up a little bit?
Yeah, that's true.
To Coach's point, that is, it always ends up being something, and I'm knocking on wood, I'm hoping it's not, but he doesn't have many stretches like that where he goes without dealing with an injury of some kind. So recent history would tell us, yeah, you better have Arch ready to go because you might need him to come save the day for you. Not saying you need to bench Quinn because Quinn's playing bad or anything like that, but if he gets hurt or if there's lingering effects from this injury, you might need to have a contingency plan ready to go. So
it's interesting. If Quinn is able to go, you got to rock with him, right? That first half, 17 of 26, almost 190 yards pass, and you take that 10 times out of 10, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Texas has 24 points on the board. Looking like that was going to be a pretty good day for Quinn, and then obviously he gets dinged up with the foot. If that's the Quinn that we see Saturday with that limited mobility, I don't think you can play him. Now, if he's healthy, if he can move around a little bit, I'm sure they're going to do everything they can to keep him in the game and allow him to go to begin the game. But if he can't move against that Arkansas front seven, you're going to be hamstrung. And that's not a game that you want to be hamstrung in with really the SEC hopes on the line, right? So it's going to be interesting. If he can get through the week without any setbacks, any further swelling or tenderness in that ankle, send him out there. Because, hey, it's a tough thing for Arch Manning to step into a game where he's only taking a snap at home, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of an underrated aspect as well.
That's a good point.
If your first start or your first real meaningful game against a big-time opponent is on the road at Kyle Field, I don't know if that's a recipe for success.
If there's anybody with a name on the back of their jersey that can do it, I think he can.
And I hate to even get too far ahead and even think about it, but what a start to a legacy that would be, right?
Yeah, ain't lying.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But no, to the point, if Quinn can go, he's your quarterback. And that's that. That's where I'm at.
The crazy thing about it, that happened to Chris Sims. That's the crazy thing about it. Remember, Major had the issue, and then Sims had to start, and then Longhorn fans who were clamoring for Sims that, hey, this guy has a bigger arm than Major, he should play. That actually happened in the Texas A&M game. So history does have a weird way of repeating itself. All right, let's get back to the question. Thank you for that question, Augustine. That was a good one. Here's another question from just a comment from Josh. Anthony Hill may put A&M's offensive line in body bags. Going after him was not a good idea. I agree. I don't know why you're going to give that guy bulletin board material. Makes no sense. But, hey, we'll take it. Hey, extra motivation, we'll take it all day, every day. John says here, John Morgan, Sark has faced Elko and PK has faced Colin Klein. We know both schemes. Horns 34-20. Good point about the scheme familiarity. That's a good point. Now, there is the flip side of that they also know your schemes. That's how Longhorn fans are very confident. And everything. Well, we know their schemes, but they also know your schemes. They know. It goes both ways. But I agree with you, John. That's a good point. I'll take Texas right now and their schematic advantage over what A&M brings to the table. How about you this, Coach? Texas done a good job against mobile quarterbacks. They'll face another one this week with Marcel Reed. I can't remember Dylan Gabriel's probably the only last quarterback that gashed mobile quarterback that gashed Texas. And the thing about it was he wasn't considered a mobile quarterback. He had functional mobility. That's how they broke tendency to beat Texas because nobody thought they would run. He had his career high in rush attempts and yards in that game. Are you confident that Texas will be able to corral Marcel Reed?
Well, there's one thing about Reed is he's not difficult to bring down. I mean, you see people arm tackle him all the time. You just make some contact with him, shove him, push him, whatever. He's gonna fall down more times than not. So, although he certainly is a dual threat quarterback, and it's certainly something that Texas is going to have to deal with, but it's not like he's tough to bring down. Like VY. You could hit VY, and he would just keep on going. But you hit Reed, he goes down pretty easily. So that's the good thing about facing a dual threat quarterback this week. It's not like he's a tough runner. He's I'm not saying he runs fragile, but he's a smaller guy, and it doesn't take a lot to bring him down. So it's certainly concerning because we haven't seen really that yet. No, we did see one team that had a pretty decently mobile.
Arkansas had a one. And Congress kind of like that, but Arkansas had the one, and he didn't do much at all. Taylor Green. So I actually have a lot of faith that if PK knows, and PK and Johnny Nansen, they know that that's what your strength is as a running quarterback. They've been able to take that away. Jalen Milroe, a couple years ago, they're doing a good job of that, CJ. So actually, I know usually that's one of the areas where you'd be concerned. You have some anxiety as a Longhorn fan. I think Texas does a great job game planning for dual threat quarterbacks. They really do.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it certainly helps when you have number 0 and that linebacking spot.
Yeah.
Leon Glafal, David Benda, Mo Blackwell. I mean, there's just a lot of speed right there. And credit to the Texas Edges, because I think on top of being disruptive in the backfield, they're very intelligent on when to pull the trigger, on when to get back there, when to play the option or set the edge, whatever it might be. I think Colin Simmons has a great instinctual feel for when that front side guard or tackle pulls and the tackle pins down, where does he go? And he does a tremendous job of chasing down a backside runs, as well as a young edge rusher that I've seen at Texas. So that's encouraging. Now, that could backfire, and Rod, we've talked about it. How long until an opponent hits Texas with the double moves, the slant and goes, a comeback and go? You know, how long until that happens on the outside?
Yeah.
How long until there's some sort of trickeration in the running game because of the aggressiveness of the Texas Edges? I don't know what's in store for Colin Klein, but there's some familiarity there with a Will Harris, with an Avery Johnson, with a Skylar Thompson in years past. So there's something that you can work on there. And I just trust this Texas defense to play a running quarterback as well as anybody.
Yeah. No, I agree with you about that too. I think they've just done a really, really good job with dual threat quarterbacks. All right. Getting back to the questions, we're getting close to the end of the live stream. So we'll try to answer as many of them as we can. How about this one? Someone says here, if Michael Paul says, if I'm a UT manager, I'm taking some bolt cutters to the game and making some adjustments to the sideline speakers. I saw this story, and I don't know if it came from an actual source, like a news source. Nicole Griffith is her name. She's actually a reporter, and she tweeted out, speakers have been added field level for the first time this season. And this was last week. It said a staff member says they're going to use them for the Texas game. Just loud. So I don't know if that's actually, like I said, it did come from an actual reporter. That wasn't some makeshift story. Is that something they can do? Because you can do that. Is that allowed?
I don't know. I'm surely there's some type
of rule,
SEC rule that would. You never know. It's every rule that's ever been made is because somebody took advantage of some situation or whatever. And if it's not a rule, it probably will be after this game, unless one of the managers takes care of those wires.
Arkansas had speakers on the field as well, worth mentioning.
Okay.
Sarkisian also kind of mentioned it today. He's like, I'm aware. I'm aware of what they got down there. I'm going to make sure the officials are also aware that, hey, whenever we're set to play, they cannot be playing any type of outside noise. So that's
Too broke to pay attention says yes, but Sark said they have to be turned off prior to the snap of the ball. So you can have them like in between snaps, essentially.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize you could do that. Well, hell, everybody should be doing that then.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how often we see Quinn Ewers with the helmet communication, kind of covering his ears. I wonder if it'll just strictly be signs. If there's a silent count, what that will look like. Michael Taft's mentioned today that sometimes DKR gets so loud defensively that they have to go with the nonverbal communications across the backside of the secondary. And we've talked about it, Rod and Coach. It feels like when you see that with the secondary, everybody relaying whatever the signal is, whatever, the hand sign is, who knows, that they are figuring out the same page with the echoing across the secondary without it being verbal. And that helps,
Yeah, no, I didn't realize that. Thank you guys for clarifying. I didn't realize you could just turn the speakers on. In that case, I would build a stadium with speakers all around the sidelines and be able to turn them on and off as I see fit. Like I'd have them a switchboard where I can turn the opposing sideline speakers on. What the hell are we doing, people? Come on. If that's allowed, let's just do it. Why are we being moderate about this thing? All right, let's thank our sponsor. One more sponsor before we end our live stream today. Let's thank our good friends over at South Point Dodge. Texas football fans, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including a great selection of Ram 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s. Whatever your truck needs, South Point Dodge is your one-stop shop. They also have a great deal happening right now with over 50 Ram 2500s all marked down with huge savings right now at South Point Dodge. Whatever your truck needs, South Point Dodge is the one-stop shop. So head on over there today. You can go see their great inventory in person off I-35 in South Austin, or you can go online and go check out their inventory for yourself at southpointdodge.com. So check them out. Austin's automotive everything. That is southpointdodge.com. We really appreciate them for sponsoring the winning drive. Thank you very much to our friends at South Point Dodge. Travis has a super chat here. Appreciate you, Travis. Says, what's up, boo? We so missed you at the live stream Friday, Rod. But CJ was awesome. He said, I hope Bobby got the super text into you. Yes, we're going to, he's actually, Bobby texted me about it. He's going to get it to me. We're going to arrange to get that. Thank you very much. He said, you're not kidding, brother. It is so good. Much love, Rod, CJ, Coach. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for coming to see us out there at the co-op too, man. It's always fun. Best part of this gig is meeting you guys. So if you are in town for games and stuff like that, great coming through the co-op. So we appreciate that. And I guarantee we'll get you details on where Bobby will be set up for and the crew will be set up for the Texas A&M game. CJ, are you making plans to go down to Aggie Land? Are you? Oh, you're muted, CJ. You going?
Yeah, so I'll be up in Dallas the rest of the weekend with family, eating the turkey, hanging out with the family, watching the Cowboys. But, Saturday morning we'll wake up, drive down, and business trip, as it has been this whole year. Should be exciting. First time for a game down there.
Yeah, so I by the way, I'm not going. If I want to be treated like crap, I'll just stay right here at home. I'm teasing. I have the best wife in the world.
Holiday time, Coach.
I want to say I saw Wifey back there behind you.
You did?
In the kitchen or so. She was walking around. So you're going to watch it, Coach.
She might have just picked up a knife, Coach.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. You better watch it. They're always lurking. All right. One more question. Let's get one more in a couple more in before we get out of here, guys. How about this one? Jamie says 13 years later, and I'm part of a house divided now. Better know I'm letting them hear it this week. Oh, well, that's right. Good point. Some of y'all been hooked up with Aggies and not had kids with them and got married to them and thought, oh, you know what? Texas A&M is a dead rivalry. We ain't got to worry about it no more. Nope. House divided. There you go. So
I'm gonna tell you what. I tell you what. I cannot believe that Longhorns will talk as much trash if they win as our Aggie friends will. We come on, guys. I can't take a year of it.
You couldn't. No, that's another thing, Coach, that makes the rivalry unique. You don't live with as many Sooners. You live with these Aggies. You work with them. I was so people. Houston was an Aggie town before Mac Brown got it. Y'all, if not for Mac Brown, that damn town would be maroon. Thank God Mac Brown came in and painted it burnt orange. But when I was growing up, Houston was an Aggie town. Like Houston Lamar, which is now again a pipeline from Lamar to Texas. Guys, there was no Longhorn that signed from Lamar to go to the University of Texas before me. It was Aggies and Sooners. Crazy. And now, so that's a good point, Coach. You don't want to hear that all year long. You don't want to do it. So Matt says, I married an Aggie, but I've converted her. She saw the light. Amen.
Well, you're a rarity, Matt. You must have something she likes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you do got
house divided. This game probably dictates where you're going for Christmas and the holidays later in December because
yeah, no, you're right. Good point. That's the truth. I didn't think about that. Ooh. I'm not going on to Aggie Land to spend no.
You can go down to the in-laws after just spanking them on their home field,
That's why I love Mac Brown so much, guys. Man, I could have been an Aggie. Think about it. I might have been an Aggie if Mac Brown didn't convince me.
It'd have been you and Billy. You and Billy.
Yeah, me and Billy Lucci hanging out.
Talking about those Longhorns.
I've been on Texags right now, Coach. All right, talking trash about the Longhorns.
You'd be on adroids.com.
Oh, thank God for Mac Brown. All right. Thank you. Thank God for Matt, too. Matt does a great job behind the scenes. He's a real MVP. Thank you to our sponsors as well. Thank you to Hardgrove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. Thank you to Duck Camp at duckcamp.com. Thank you to our friends at Flat Creek Estate, flatcreekestate.com as well. We really appreciate them. And South Point Dodge, southpointdodge.com. Thanks, Coach, for all of your wisdom and knowledge. We appreciate it. CJ, appreciate all your hard work, man, and all your nuggets. It's always great stuff. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Can't thank you enough. Tomorrow, you got any questions that we missed? Couldn't get to all of them, but thanks for the participation, man. You guys really make this job job special. Direct them to Coffee and Football starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have your Tuesday live stream tomorrow. That'll be at 7 p.m. But anything that breaks about Texas football, you guys know, just keep it tuned to ontexasfootball.com and keep it tuned to On Texas Football. Kyle Field at Mack Brown Stadium. Yeah, right. Nice. I like that. Great job, Blake. Great job. All right. For Coach and for CJ and for Matthew behind the scenes and for all of our sponsors, thank you guys so much. Until next time, hook 'em horns.